Hello, my name is Caden. This is Caden's Life Adventure, and this is my diet journal. And I did move on to P3 this week. I'm on day 5 of the P3, and I am zero point 0.4 above LDI. I haven't used that term for a while. Last day LDW. So, geez, when you get out of it for a little while, and then you're trying to remember the terms that people used to use, and go from there, you just go, oh yeah, and I'm old. This month, down 16.5 pounds. I am up, I think was 4/10 of a pound from LDW. It's either 4/10 or 6/10, one of the two. So not too bad. The first time I did this diet, I was on VLCD. It's like 80 something, and I decided really not to do that. I wanted to give the body a little bit more of a break than what I did before. This round wasn't an overly successful round, and I was taking vitamins. I was doing that kind of thing. I was doing the omega fish oil also, so that also incorporated into what I was doing. But Caden, fish oil isn't part of the Dr. Simeon's protocol. I know. But the grand scheme of things, I think making sure that your fat cells wall is very pliable, and it allows the easy transfer of fat into your bloodstream, and also packing it in for your little fuel tanks, I think is more important in the long run. And also looking at, I've been fat now for 10 years. So I don't really know what the damage I'm actually doing as far as inflammation. Inflammation is more important than fat or cholesterol as far as preventing a heart attack, that kind of thing. So I am planning on staying off, being in P3 for the entire month, and going back on VLCD June the 1st, probably. Weekend June the 1st on VLCD, at least as far as loading, and just go from there. I did have some questions about cholesterol and how cholesterol actually works in your body. Cholesterol is not an evil thing. There's so many hormones and your sex organs, and it is dependent on cholesterol that it is very important. Again, I'm not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice, but this is for information only. There's basically two types of cholesterol, LDL and HDL. And when people use that term, it's not specifically correct. LDL and HDL is actually a protein. And it's a protein that you need to look at as little dump trucks going out throughout your body. And that's what you really need to take a look at. The HDL is taking the old cholesterol and bringing it back for the liver for recycling and that kind of a thing. So the LDL is good, especially when you have some kind of a rip or a tear in your arteries, and the cholesterol is actually used for healing it up and reducing inflammation, that kind of thing. The LDL, people usually say LDL is bad. Well, it's not necessarily true. There are two types of LDL. There's this big fluffy ball, and then there's the little tiny BB-sized ball. And the big fluffy one is good in some components. And the type B, or the little BB one, that is what really causes the plaque in your veins and arteries, cell walls. And when that is oxidized, that's when it gives a certain problem. Now, when the thing about it is that saturated fat is not an evil thing when it's done in moderation. There is some kind of a link with saturated fat and the rise of HDL. And there is you're supposed to have a certain ratio of about 3.5 from the high to the low. And when you increase your saturated fat, for some reason it produces the big fluffy LDL and more HDL. So when you're going through all this is something that you kind of really need to take a look at. Now, what does that? Now, I'm coming full circle around here. The Dr. Simeon's protocol is really a low fat, and what he's really trying to incorporate as far as the HCG is that it will strip the fat out of the cell, out of your abnormal fat cell walls, and it'll dump it into the blood system. That does two things. It's making your body use your fat for the nutrition, the nutrients that is not being used, and that fat is also supposed to not make you hungry. So it's a two-edged kind of a sword there. I never done blood work through the HhCG diet, and I think it probably needs to be done in some fashion just to make sure that your triglycerides and your proteins, your HDL and LDL, and your cholesterol is all step in line. And every once in a while you get a troll on these videos, and they tell you the evils of the HhCG diet, and it's kind of a double-edged sword. It is one of those things where it is allowing your body to get back to where it is, but the HhCG diet has a very, very, very high recidivism rate. And that is something that people just don't take a look at. P3 is more important than P2. P4 is more important than P2. Changing a lifestyle change as far as your eating has to be really taken. You really need to take it into effect. So when this diet is done, and HhCG crazy Lori was saying that there's a lot of people coming out of P2 here shortly, and they're going to be going into P3. If you look at Bobby, SoCal Plum, if you look at Miss HhCG Girl, and Lori and a few others that have kept it off, listen to what they're actually eating. They're really getting away from sugars, simple starches. And what people really need to look at is that the glycemic index on cereal foods is higher than sugar. So when you start taking in the simple sugars, the potatoes, the grains, the cereals, that kind of thing, the body turns those carbohydrates into sugar. Raises your blood sugar, insulin starts to be dumped in there again, and you come back in the same chemical pattern where that insulin, the leptin, is trying to pack those fat cells with all the fat that it can get. And then those fat cells become greedy. They do not want to release the fat cells, and that's when people get hungry. So you may look like me, and you may feel hungry because the cereals, the carbohydrates, the little fuel cells of fat is not releasing fat back into your system, so you won't feel hungry again. So it's all of a snowball effect, and what they're really coming to the notion is the fatter you get, the hungrier you get, and it just becomes a big snowball effect. So literally, that snowball keeps on building into a big avalanche until you're looking like me or people who are heavier than me. So that is a little brief synopsis on the importance of what I just got done telling you, is that P3 and 4 is so much more important than 2. If you look at the HhCG community on YouTube, they're talking about P2 all the time because it's giving instant results. You're having instant meltdown results. 3 weeks later, your belt is looser, your jeans don't fit. This shirt is, I used to wear this shirt at my fattest, at 340 350, 340, whatever it was. And, you know, this is 60 pounds less than me in here. 68 right now, I think, pounds less than me right here. So if you have any comments or questions, you know, please let me know. Or if you have anything else to add about the HcG experience, you know, let's go for it. There needs to be a lot of help out there. So this is Caden. Live, love, learn, grow. In that order. Bye.